Hi there! On the issue of work, I look to Christianity since it's the only philosophy I know that best addresses the necessity of work to make the world go round and also the needed support of those who cannot adequately support themselves. Quoting Christian scripture 2 Thessalonians 3:10. This we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. End quote. If anyone didn't eat, they'd starve and die. For working age men with no physical or mental handicaps who have a wife and children, to fulfill 2 Thessalonians 3:10, they must seek and attempt to keep full-time employment, working overtime if necessary. Quoting Christian scripture, Timothy 5:8. If any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. When these texts were written, women were not to have full-time jobs outside the home. To fulfill 2 Thessalonians 3:10, the job of most women was and should be taking care of the home and children and possibly selling some produce from the family farm at market. For most children, their job was and should be to either get an education, do their share of work for the family, or some of both. Per the elderly, they were always to be supported financially and physically. But they too were expected to do what they could, even if that simply meant giving advice to younger people. As for the poor and disabled, there are two types: those who must be helped and those who don't deserve help. For example, those who have made themselves handicapped and unable to do their share of work from an incurable sexually transmitted disease or from drug abuse, which gave them permanent brain damage. They should be severely penalized and tougher laws enforced to limit the possibilities of such conditions occurring. Some become handicapped and unable to do their share of work from dangerous athletic activities, some of which should be outlawed and discouraged. There's a fetish where women purposely try to weigh over 800 pounds with the help of a feeder, resulting in their inability to do anything to even care for themselves, let alone help anybody else. They are seen at feeder websites where men send in money for their food and to see their pictures and videos. Such websites which promote this extreme laziness and gluttony should be blocked and banned. Many women have children out of wedlock or dump their husbands, then expect to be supported on welfare. Such cheats should be penalized and such circumstances discouraged. I worked with a Mexican man who advocated having 10 or more children. I mentioned the cost of that, and he said that he knew our government would support that through financial aid. Now, if a man has many children because he can afford it with his high income, then loses his job, the government should give the family abundant financial assistance. However, if the couple knows beforehand that they cannot afford many children on their own, yet goes ahead and has them, knowing the government will step in, that is stealing from society. Such behavior should be punished and its circumstances discouraged. And of course, slavery would be an extreme violation of the work ethic by slave masters by shirking your own share of work by overburdening others. And as mentioned, some obviously cannot do a normal share of work through no fault of their own and so clearly deserve assistance. While we must be reactive by doing our share of work or even more and reprimanding and punishing lazy people, the proactive approach of eugenics and genetic engineering, that's another factor, would dramatically decrease the number of males born with handicaps, thus lightening the burden on society and increasing the number of those born with high intelligence so our society can advance, in increasing the number of physically healthy people, able people, so they can work physically. If you're against the idea of eugenics and genetic engineering, just think, such programs would prevent people like me from being born because I'm handicapped and no longer work, unfortunately. And that's what everybody wants. In my opinion, every man who is defrauded from ever having a wife or children due to universal rejection should be exempt from regular employment and should get a large free income from the government. That's because the primary purpose of a man going out to work every day has always been to provide for a wife and children, and society too. But that's the main thing is his immediate family. A few married men think that being exempt from employment for that would be unfair. Know that such men, never have sex, never have a woman or children who loves them, never have romance, never have the joy of having children, must do all the household chores, grocery shopping and cooking, and must live alone. So if you wouldn't give all that up for that free income, then sit down and shut up. Again, replay my video again and again so it sinks in as to who should work, who should not, what are the principles. See you in the next video. Take care.